Welcome. Hello? Can you hear me? What the heck is happening here? Where's my damn sound? Dangle, dangle, dangle. Oh, man. Wow. What the crack is happening? No. Nope, not that. Not that. Let's see. Oh, yes, yes, yes. What's crap? Why is this not working? What is going on? I do not know. What is going on? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Alright, so, let's see. Why the crack is this not happening? Freaking weird. Over here. Sound settings right now. Right now. Yep. Hello? Hello. Okay, let's go back. Perhaps we should start from the beginning. Wow. Let me look and see if this is working. I still don't see it. Hello. Hello? 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 This is freaking weird. Hello, can you hear me? So, I know my Spreaker peeps can hear me, but what the crack's going on over here? This other thing's trying to connect on the other side. Let's check my internet. So, I did actually try to use my Bluetooth with my earbuds, but one of them is missing. So, that looks good. Is that working? Make this one bigger. Go over here. Why is my sound not working now? This is so freaking weird. Hello, 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 hello. Freaking weird. Yeah, I have no idea why this is not working. As I'm mounting down on another freaking cheeseburger. If you leave me now, take away the biggest part of you. Wow, what the crack? Maybe I gotta refresh this? Oh, anyway. Freaking weird. I was listening to a Chaparral Roan. That chick is amazing. She's freaking awesome. Yeah, my sound is still not working over here. Can one? Audio, yo. Audio, yo. Bam. What a freaking mess. Okay, let's see. Voice meter output. Microphone. Hey, that's working. Voice meter aux output. The microphone was actually louder and much better. What the crap is happening? Oh, we can basically even hear my fan. That's pretty crazy. Box. How about that? Let's move in here, but what about over there? Sorry guys, this is freaking insanity. Insanity. What's going on right now? Go to my settings. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, wow. Indian. He's got my freaking headphones as the communication device. That doesn't make sense at all. What? Set as default device. Okay. Alright, can you hear me now? Let me look over here to see what's happening. I just don't see anything moving. Alright. Voice meter aux. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Freaking weird. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Let me see. Maybe I need to reset this? So, Spreaker, you're good, but I'm talking about my StreamYard. What the crack is going on here? Reset that, see what happens. Holy shnikes. Hey, it looks like it's finally working. Thank goodness. Holy crack. That was crazy. Anyways. Let's do this. Do this. Secure tinfoil hats, plug them tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the lettuce on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the four corners, and settle down snugly, with mile marker 420 in Tulsa, Colorado. Today is Sunday, June 23rd, Monday, June 24th. For those of you across the pond and beyond, sorry for the delay. That was pretty kooky. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, day, afternoon, morning, whatever you're having at this very moment. Yeah, I'm super grateful that you're here and listening to my show. If you're listening live right now, you may be listening to us on via Product Media's Spreaker, Facebook, as well as YouTube. If you don't mind, if you're not subscribed, please mosey on over to the YouTube and give us a like for any video that you've listened to or any video that you have watched. So tonight we are doing the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I've been looking forward to this all freaking week. I really like this book. Like I said, I'm thinking about buying the series. If somebody wants to buy it for me, send it to my P.O. Box. So let's begin. Deep thought, you address the computer. Are you not, as we designed you to be, the greatest, most powerful computer in all time? I describe myself as the second greatest, intoned Deep Thought, and such I am. Another worried look passed between the two programs. Longwill cleared his throat. There must be some mistake, he said. Are you not a greater computer than the Milliard Gargantubrain at Max Maitland, which can count all the atoms in a star in a millisecond? The Milliard Gargantubrain? Said Deep Thought, with unconcealed contempt. A mere abacus, mention it not. And are you not? Said Fook, leaning anxiously forward. A greater analyst than the Googleplex star thinker in the seventh galaxy of light and ingenuity, which can calculate the trajectory of every single dust particle throughout a 5-week Gangrabad beta sand blizzard? A 5-week sand blizzard? Said Deep Thought, haughtily. You ask this of me, who have contemplated the very vectors of the atoms in the Big Bang itself. You must be not with this pocket calculator stuff. The two programmers sat in uncomfortable silence for a moment. Then Monkwill leaned forward again. But are you not? He said, a more fiendish disputant than the great hyperbolic omnicognate neutron wrangler of Caesarinus 12 and magic and indefatigable? Great hyperbolic omnicognate neutron wrangler, took Deep Thought, thoroughly rolling the R's. Could chop all 4 legs off an Arcturian mega-donkey, but only I could persuade it to go for a walk afterwards. What, asked Fook, is the problem? There is no problem, said Deep Thought with magnificent ringing tones. I am simply the second greatest computer in the universe of space and time. But the second? Insisted Lunquill. Why do you keep saying the second? You're surely not thinking of the multi-cortizoid perspicutron Titan Mueller, are you? Or the Pondermatic, or the... Contemptuous lights flashed across the computer's console. I spare not a single unit of thought on these cybernetic simpletons, he boomed. I speak of none but the computer that is to come after me. Fook was losing patience. He pushed his notebook aside and muttered, I think this is getting needlessly messianic. You know nothing of future time, pronounced Deep Thought, and yet, in my team circuitry, I can navigate the infinite delta streams of future probability and see that there must one day come a computer whose merest operations and operational parameters I am not worthy to calculate, but which it will be my fate eventually to design. Fook sighed heavily and glanced across the Lunquill. Can we get on and ask the question, he said. Lunquill motioned him to wait. What computer is this of which you speak, he asked. I will speak of it no further in this present time, said Deep Thought. Now, ask what else of me you will that may function. Speak. They shrugged at each other. Fook composed himself. Oh, Deep Thought computer, he said. The task we have designed you to perform is this. I want you to tell us, he paused, the answer. The answer? Said Deep Thought. The answer to what? Life? Urged Fook. The universe? Said Lunquill. Everything, they said in chorus. Deep Thought paused for a moment's reflection. Tricky, he said finally. But can you do it? Again, significant pause. Yes, said Deep Thought, I can do it. There's an answer, said Fook with breathless excitement. A simple answer, added Lunquill. Yes, said Deep Thought, life, the universe, and everything. There is an answer, but, he added, I'll have to think about it. A sudden commotion destroyed the moment. The door flew open, and two angry men wearing the coarse, faded blue robes and belts of the Crooksman University burst into the room, thrusting aside the ineffectual flunky who tried to bar their way. "We demand admission!" shouted the younger of the two men, elbowing a pretty young secretary in the throat. "Come on!" shouted the old one. "You can't keep us out." He pushed a junior programmer back through the door. "We demand that you can't keep us out," called the younger one. Though he was now firmly inside the room, and no further attempts were being made to stop him. "Who are you?" said Ludlow, rising angrily from his seat. "What do you want?" "I am Magic Feast," announced the older one. "And I demand that I am Vroom Fondle," shouted the younger one. Magic Feast turned on Vroom Fondle. "It's all right," he explained angrily. "You don't need to demand that." "All right," called Vroom Fondle, banging on a nearby desk. "I am Vroom Fondle, banging on a nearby desk, and that is not a demand. That is a solid fact. What we demand is solid facts." "No, we don't," exclaimed Majesties in irritation. "That is precisely what we don't demand." Scarcely pausing for a breath, Vroom Vondel shouted, "We don't demand solid facts. What we demand is total absence of solid facts. I demand that I may or may not be Vroom Vondel." "Who the devil are you?" exclaimed an outraged Fook. "We," said Majesties, "are philosophers." "Though we may not be," said Vroom Fondle, waving a warning finger at the programmers. "Yes, we are," insisted Majesties. "We are quite definitely here as representatives of the Amalgamates Union of Philosophers, sages, luminaries, and other thinking persons. And we want this machine off, and we want it off now." "What's the problem?" said Mungwil. "I'll tell you what the problem is, mate," said Majesties. "Demarcation, that's the problem." "We demand," yelled Vroomfeld, Vroomfondle, "that demarcation may or may not be the problem. You just let the machines get on with the adding up, or Majesties, and we'll take care of the eternal varieties." "Thank you very much. You want to check your legal position?" "You do, mate." Well, the quest for ultimate truth is quite clearly the inalienable prerogative of your working thinkers. Any blind machine goes and actually finds it, and we're straight out of a job, aren't we? It actually finds it, and we're straight out of a job. I mean, what's the use of us sitting up half the night arguing that there may or may not be a God if this machine only goes and gives to you his bleeding phone number, and the next morning, that's right, shouted Roomfelden. "We demand rightly to find areas of doubt and uncertainty." Suddenly, a stentorian voice boomed across the room. "Might I make an observation at this point?" inquired Deep Thought. "We'll go on strike," yelled Vroomfindle. "That's right," agreed Majesties. "You have a national philosopher's strike on your hands." The hum level in the room suddenly increased as several ancillary base drivers units mounted in sedately carved and varnished cabinet speakers around the room cut in to give Deep Thought's voice a little more power. "All I want to say," bellowed the computer, "is that my circuits are now irrevocably committed to calculating the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything." He paused and satisfied himself that he now had everyone's attention before continuing more quietly. But the program will take a little while to run. Fook glanced impatiently at his watch. How long? He said. 7.5 million years, said Deep Thought. Uncle and Fook winked at each other. 7.5 million years? They cried in chorus. Yes, he claimed. Deep Thought. But I said I'd have to think about it, didn't I? And it occurs to me that running a program like this is bound to create an enormous amount of popular publicity for the whole area of philosophy in general. Everyone's going to have their own theories about what answer I'm eventually going to come up with, and who better to capitalize on that media market than you yourselves? So long as you can keep disagreeing with each other violently enough to malign each other in the popular press, and so long as you have clever agents, you can keep yourselves on the gravy train for life. How does that sound? The two philosophers gaped at him. Bloody hell, said Majesties. Now, that is what I call thinking. Here, Roomfondle. Why do we never think of things like that? Dunno, said Roomfondle in an odd whisper. Think our brains must be too highly trained, Majesties? So saying, they turned on their heels and walked out of the door and into a lifestyle beyond their wildest dreams. Chapter 26. Yes, very salutary, said Arthur, after Slarty Barfast had related the salient points of his story to him. But I don't understand what all this has got to do with the earth and mice and things. That is but the first half of the story, Earthman, said the old man. If you would care to discover what happened 7.5 million years ago, and 7.5 million years later, on the great day of the answer, allow me to invite you to my study, where you can experience the events yourself, and I've Sensotape recorders. That is, unless you care to take a quick stroll on the surface of the new Earth. It's only half completed, I'm afraid. We haven't even finished burying the artificial dinosaur skeletons in the crust yet. Then we have the Tertiary and Quaternary periods of Cenozoic era to lay down and... Oh, thank you, said Arthur. It wouldn't be quite the same. No, said Starty Barfast. Starty Barfast. It won't be. And he turned the air car around and headed back toward the mind-numbing wall. Chapter 27. Chapter 26 was actually the shortest chapter I've ever read. Starty Barfast's study was a total mess, like the results of an explosion in a public library. The old man frowned as they stepped in. Terribly unfortunate, he said. A diode blew in one of the life support computers. When we tried to revive our cleaning staff, we discovered they'd been dead for nearly 30,000 years. Who's going to clear away the bodies? That's what I want to know. Look, why don't you sit yourself down, over there, and let me plug you in? He gestured Arthur toward a chair, which looked as if it had been made out of the rib cage of a Stegosaurus. It was made out of the rib cage of a Stegosaurus, explained the old man, as he pottered about fishing bits of wire out from under pottering piles of paper and drawing instruments. Here, he said, hold these, and passed a couple of striped wire ends to Arthur. The instant he took hold of them, a bird flew straight through him. He had suspended in midair and totally invisible to himself. Beneath him was a pretty tree-lined city square, and all around it, as far as the eye could see, were white concrete buildings of every spacious design, but somewhat the worse for wear. Many were cracked and strained with rain. Today, however, the sun was shining. A fresh breeze danced lightly through the trees, and the odd sensation that all the buildings were quietly humming was probably caused by the fact that the square and all the streets around it were thronged with cheerful, excited people. Somewhere a band was playing, brightly colored flags were fluttering in the breeze, and the spirit of Carnival was in the air. Arthur felt extraordinarily lonely, stuck up in the air above it all, without so much as a body to his name. But before he had time to reflect on this voice, it rang out across the square and called for everyone's attention. "Hi, Sandra." A man standing on a brightly dressed dais before the building, which clearly dominated the square, was addressing the crowd over a tanway. "O people who wait in the shadow of deep thought," he cried out, "honored descendants of Rumfundle and Majesties, the greatest and most truly interesting pundits the universe has ever known. The time is waiting is over." Loud cheers broke out among the crowd. Flags, streamers, and wolf whistles sailed through the air. The narrower streets actually looked rather like centipedes, rolled over on their backs and frantically waving their legs in the air. 7.5 million years our race has waited for the great and hopefully enlightened day, cried the cheerleader. "The day of the answer!" Hurrahs burst from the ecstatic crowd. "Never again," cried the men. "Never again will we wake up in the morning and think, who am I? Where's my purpose in life? Does it really, cosmically speaking, matter if I don't get up and go to work? For today I will finally learn once and for all the plan and simple answer to all these nagging little problems of life, the universe, and everything." As the crowd erupted, once again, Arthur found himself gliding through the air and out toward one of the large, stately windows in the first floor of the building, behind the dais from which the speaker was addressing the crowd. He experienced a moment's panic as he sailed straight toward the window, which passed when a second or so later he found he had gone right through the solid glass without apparently touching it. No one in the room remarked on his peculiar arrival, which is hardly surprising as he wasn't there. He began to realize that the whole experience was merely a recorded projection, which knocked 6-track 70mm into a cocked hat. The room was much as the Sardi Bartfaz had described it. In 7.5 million years, I had been well looked after and cleaned regularly every century or so. The ultra-mahogany desk was worn at the edges. The carpet, a little faded now, but the large computer terminal sat in sparkling glory on the desk leather top, as bright as if it had been constructed yesterday. 2 severely dressed men sat respectfully before the terminal and waited. "The time is nearly upon us," said one, and Arthur was surprised to see a word suddenly materialize in thin air, just by the man's neck. The word was "Moncour," and flashed a couple of times and then disappeared again. Before Arthur was able to assimilate this, the other man spoke, and the word "Fool" appeared by his neck.
It was the arbitrary gate right here.
Really?
You're sick.
Did you tell her you're sick? We'll let her know when you go to your room or something.
I think that's kind of sweet out.
Huh?
back to my room.
Your room is not bad. It used to be the living room. Hello, Jade. Well, just let her know you're sick, and I don't know, you can stay in my room if you want.
Sure, but I wonder if I can find my cat.
Uh-oh. Where'd it go?
I don't know. I checked out on the couch cushions. I did, like, scramble, good, wake it up. Still working.
Maybe it's in the couch?
I lifted up the couch cushions. Told you.
I don't know. Sometimes things hide in places that you actually look.
Okay.
Alright, well, I love you.
Me too.
75,000 generations ago, our ancestors set this program in motion, the second man said. And all of that time, we will be the first to hear the computer speak. An awesome prospect. Felch, agreed the first man, and Arthur suddenly realized he was watching a recording with subtitles. We are the ones who will hear, said Faug, the answer to the great question of life. The universe, said Lungwall, and everything, said Lungwall with a slight gesture. I think Deep Thought is prepared to speak. Hey, babe. Okay. That is super cool, Crystal. Labels? Wow. That is pretty intense.
I didn't see one like that.
Yeah, me neither. I like it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, I love you. I play camera.
Look at you. In all that time, we would be the first to hear the computer speak. An awesome prospect, folk, agreed the first man, and Arthur suddenly realized he was watching a recording with subtitles. We are the ones who will hear, said folk, the answer to the great question of life. The universe, said Lungwall. And everything. Shh, said Lungwall with a slight gesture. I think Deep Thought is preparing to speak. There was a moment's expectant pause while panels slowly came to life on the front of the console. Lights flashed on and off. Experimentally and settled down into a business-like pattern. A soft low hum came from the communication channel. Good morning, said Deep Thought at last. Good morning, oh Deep Thought, said Lungwall nervously. Do you have, that is, an answer for you? Interrupted Deep Thought, majestically. Yes, I have. The two men shivered with expectancy. Their waiting had not been in vain. There really is one? Breathed Folk. There really is one, confirmed Deep Thought. Everything to the great question of life, the universe, and everything. Yes. Both of the men had been trained for this moment. Their lives had been the preparation for it. They had been selected at birth as those who would witness the answer, but even so they found themselves gasping and squirming like excited little children. And you're ready to give it to us? Urged Lungwall. I am. Now? Now, said Deep Thought. They both licked their dry lips. No, I don't think, added Deep Thought, that you're going to like it. Doesn't matter, said Folk. You must know it now. Now? Inquired Deep Thought. Yes, now. All right, said the computer, and settled into silence again. The two men fidgeted. The tension was unbearable. You're really not going to like it, observed Deep Thought. Tell us. All right, said Deep Thought. The answer to the great question. Yes? Of life, the universe, and everything, said Deep Thought. Yes? Yes? Said Deep Thought and paused. Yes? 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 42, said Deep Thought, with infinite majesty and calm. What's up, bud?
I want to go to my room. It's freaking out long.
Well, it shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with it.
It just does.
Well, you can, like I said, hang out in my room. Turn the light on, hang out in my room.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Your room freaks you out. I don't know why. Because the bathroom is the bunk bed. That's pretty freaking cool.
It glows in the dark.
What is that?
Spots, the little spots glow in the dark. Axolotl.
An axolotl. Those are so freaking cute.
Yeah.
I can't wait to axolotl. Kids get that for you, or dad, or
No.
Nova? Aw, that's super cool.
We got one who made snacked with Rockies.
I have octopi.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So I like little axolotl.
And like that Nickelodeon Lego thing.
Little Lego thing?
Like the Legos are extra small.
Oh my. Chapter 28. What?
Look how small those Legos are for.
That's pretty small. You better be careful.
Yeah.
It was a long, long time before anyone spoke. Out of the corner of his eye, Hulk could see a tense, expectant faces in the square outside. "We're going to get lynched, aren't we?" he whispered. "It was a tough assignment," said Deep Thought mildly. 42, yelled Qual. "Is that all you got to show for 7.5 million years of work?" "I checked it very thoroughly," said the computer, "and that quite definitely is the answer. I think the problem, to be quite honest with you, is that you've never actually shown that question is. But it was the great question, the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything," howled Qual. "Yes," said Deep Thought, with the air of one who suffers fools gladly. "But what actually is it?" A slow, stupefied silence crept over the men as they stared at the computer and then at each other. "Well, you know, it's just everything, offered Folk weakly. "Exactly," said Deep Thought. "So, once you do know what the question actually is, you'll know what the answer means." "Oh, terrific," muttered Folk, flinging aside his notebook and wiping away a tiny little tear. "Look, all right, said Qual. "Can you just please tell us the question?" "The ultimate question?" "Yes! Of life, the universe, and everything." "Yes!" Deep Thought pondered for a moment. "Tricky," he said. "But can you do it?" cried Qual. Deep Thought pondered this for another long moment. "Finally, no," he said firmly. Both men collapsed onto their chairs in despair. "But I'll tell you who can," said Deep Thought. They both looked up sharply. "Who? Tell us." Suddenly Arthur began to feel his apparently non-existent scalp begin to crawl as he found himself moving slowly, but inexorably forward toward the console. But it was only a dramatic zoom on the part of whoever had made the recording, he assumed. "I speak of none but the computer that is to come after me," intoned Deep Thought, his voice regaining its accustomed declamatory tones. "A computer whose merest operational parameters I am not worthy to calculate, and yet I will design it for you. A computer that can calculate the question to the ultimate answer, a computer of such infinite and subtle complexity that organic life itself shall form part of its operational matrix, and you yourselves shall take on new forms and go down into the computer navigate its 10 million year program? Yes, I shall design this computer for you, and I shall name it also unto you, and it shall be the Earth." Folk gaped. Deep Thought. "What a dull name," he said, and great incisions appeared down the length of his body. Qual too suddenly sustained horrific gashes from nowhere. The computer console botched and cracked. Walls flickered and crumbled to the rim, crashed upward into its own ceiling. Slarky Buckfast was standing in front of Arthur, holding the two wires. "End of tape," he exclaimed. Chapter 29. Oh, man. Zaphod, wake up! Hey, come on, wake up. Just let me stick to what I'm good at, yeah? Muttered Zaphod and rolled away from the boys back to sleep. "Do you want me to kick you?" said Ford. "Would it give you a lot of pleasure?" said Zaphod. Blearily. "No, not me. So what's the point? Stop bugging me." Zaphod curled himself up. "He's got a double dose of gas," said Trillian, looking down at him. "2 windpipes." "I stopped talking," said Zaphod. "It's hard enough trying to sleep anyways. What's the matter with the ground? It's so cold and hard." "It's gold," said Ford. With an amazingly balletic movement, Zaphod was standing and scanning the horizon, because that was how far the ground actually stretched in every direction, perfectly smooth and solid. It gleamed like... It's impossible to say what it gleamed like, because nothing in the universe gleams in quite the same way that a planet made of solid gold does. "Who put all that there?" yelped Zaphod, goggle-eyed. "Don't get excited," said Ford. "It's only a catalog." "A who?" "A catalog," said Trillian. "An illusion." "How can you say that?" cried Zaphod, falling to his hands and knees and staring at the ground. He poked it and prodded it. It was very heavy and very slightly soft. He did mark it with his fingernail. It was very yellow and very shiny, and when he breathed on it, his breath evaporated off it in that very peculiar and special way that breath evaporates off solid gold. "Trillian, I came around a while ago," said Ford. "We shouted and yelled till somebody came, and then carried on shouting and yelling till they got fed up and put us in their planet catalog to keep us busy till they were ready to deal with us. This is all sensotape." "What's the series of valleys over there?" he said. "Aw, shit," he said. "You wake me up from my own perfectly good dream to show me somebody else's." He sat down in a huff. "What's that series of valleys over there?" he said. "Hallmark," said Ford. "We had a look." "We didn't wake you earlier," said Trillian. "The last planet was knee-deep in fish." "Fish?" "Some people like the oddest things." "And before that," said Ford, "we had platinum. Brittle. We thought you'd like to see this one through." Seas of light glared at them in one solid blaze, wherever they looked. "Very pretty," said Zaphod petulantly. In the sky, a huge green catalog number appeared. It flickered and changed, and when they looked around again, so had the land. As with one voice they all went, "Yuck!" The sea was purple. The beach they were on was composed of tiny yellow and green pebbles, presumably terrible precious stones. The mountains in the distance seemed soft and undulated with red peaks. Nearby stood a solid silver beach table with a frilly wall parasol and silver tassels. In the sky, a huge sign appeared, replacing the catalog number. It said, "Whatever your taste, Magrathia can cater for. We are not proud." And 500 entirely naked women dropped out of the sky on parachutes. What? moment, the scene vanished and left them in a springtime meadow full of cows. "Wow!" said Zaphod. "My dreams!" "You want to talk about it?" said Ford. "Yeah, okay," said Zaphod, and all three sat down and ignored the scenes that came and went around them. "I figure this," said Zaphod, and all three were there. "Whatever happened in my mind, I did it. And I did it in such a way that it wouldn't be detected by the government screening test. And I wasn't to know anything about it myself. Pretty crazy, right?" The other two nodded in agreement. "So I reckon. What's so secret that I can't tell anyone or let anybody know that I know it? Not the galactic government, not even myself. And the answer is, I don't know. Obviously, but I put a few things together, and I can begin to guess. When did I decide to run for president? Shortly after the death of President Uden Drunks? You remember Uden Ford?" "Yeah," said Ford. "He was that guy we met when we were kids, the Arcturian captain. He was a gas. He gave us conquerors when we bust your way into the mega freighter. Said you were the most amazing kid he'd ever met." "What's all this?" said Julian. "Ancient history," said Ford. "When we were kids, together on Beetlejuice, the Arcturian mega freighters used to carry most of the bulky trade between the Galactic Center and the outlying regions. The Beetlejuice trading scouts used to find the markets, and the Arcturians would supply them. But then there was a lot of trouble with the space and the space pirates before they were wiped out on the Gordolis during the Gordolis Wars, and the mega freighters had to be equipped with the most fantastic defense shield known to galactic science. They were real brutes of ships, and huge in orbit around a planet. They would eclipse the sun. One day, young Zaphod here decides to raid one on a Tridget scooter designed for stratosphere work and your kid. I mean, forget it. It was crazier than a mad monkey. I went along for the ride because I got some very safe money on him, so doing it, and didn't want him coming back with a fake evidence. So, what happens? We get in this Tridget, which had souped up into something totally other, across 3 parsecs in a matter of weeks. Sorry. Burst our way into a mega freighter. I still don't know how. Marched onto the bridge, waving twin pistols and banner conquers. A wilder thing I have not known. Lost me a year's pocket money. For what? Conquers? The captain was this really amazing guy, Uden Vranks, said Zaphod. He gave us food, booze, stuff from really weird parts of the galaxy. Lots of conquers, of course, and we had just the most incredible time. Then he teleported us back into the maximum security wing of the Beetlejuice State Prison. He was a cool guy, went on to become president of the galaxy. Zaphod paused. The scene around them was currently plunged into gloom. Dark mists swirled around them, and elephantine shapes lurked indistinctly in the shadows. The air was occasionally rent with the sounds of illusory beings murdering other illusory beings. Presumably enough, people must have liked this sort of thing to make it a paying proposition. Ford, said Zaphod quietly. Yeah? Just before Uden died, he came to see me. But he never told me. No. What did he say? What did he come to see you about? He told me about the heart of gold. It was his idea that I should steal it. his idea? Yeah, said Zaphod. And the only possible way of stealing it was to be at the launching ceremony. Ford gaped at him in astonishment for a moment, and then roared with laughter. Are you telling me, he said, that you yourself up to become president of the galaxy just to steal a ship? That's it, said Zaphod, with a sort of grin that would get most people locked away in a room with soft walls. But why, said Ford. What is so important about having it? Dunno, said Zaphod. I think if I'd consciously known what was so important about it, and what I would need it for, it would have showed up on the brain screening test, and I would have never noticed. I think Uden told me a lot of things that are still locked away.
Just so you know, her scratch is a trash.
Luckily, I took it out, so yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a mess. Where's your dad?
He's in the bathroom.
Oh, well, we'll know when it comes out that his dog is a trashy dog.
Love you.
Love you too. Freaking dogs, man. Like I said, luckily I took the trash out, so I don't really have to worry about that. It hurt. Anyways, so you think you went and mucked about inside your own brain as a result of you talking to you? He was a hell of a talker. Yeah, but Zaphod, old mate. You want to look after yourself, you know. Zaphod shrugged. I mean, don't you have any inkling of the reasons for all this? Asked Ford. Zaphod thought hard about this, and doubts seemed to cross his mind. No, he said at last, I don't seem to be letting myself into any of my secrets. Still, he added on further reflection, I can understand that. I wouldn't trust myself further than I could spit a rat. A moment later, the last planet in the catalog vanished from beneath them, and the solid world resolved itself again. They were sitting in a plush waiting room, full of glass-top tables and design awards. A tall, Nerithian man was standing in front of them. The mice will see you now, he said. Chapter 30. Well, on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have Miss Mia Savage with Your Skeleton, Our New Reality, The Nearing Crypto, and Let Me Be Your Home. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
brings anymore. You're mine. You're mine. Tonight. You're mine. Come with me to our new reality. You don't need all the shit that he brings anymore. You're mine. You're mine. Tonight, you're mine. You're mine. You're mine.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out tonight with me, TessaTNT, as we read through The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This has been a freaking awesome book. We're almost done. Holy shnikes, I think we might complete this before we get to our creepy video. But let's go, OTSGO. Let's turn this music down just a smidge. Chapter 30. So there you have it, said Slaughter Barkfast, making a feeble and perfunctory attempt to clear away some of the appalling mess of his study. He picked up a piece of paper from a pile, but then couldn't think of anywhere else to put it, so he put it back on top of the original pile, which promptly fell over. Deep thought designed the earth. We built it, and you lived on it. And the Rogons came and destroyed it 5 minutes before the program was completed. Added Arthur, not unbitterly. Yes, said the old man, pausing to gaze hopelessly around the room. 10 million years of planning and work. Gone just like that. 10 million years, Earthmen. Can you conceive of that kind of time span? A galactic civilization could grow from a single worm 5 times over in that time. Gone. He paused. Well, that's bureaucracy for you. Bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it. You know, said Arthur thoughtfully, all this explains a lot of things. All through my life, I've had this strange, unaccountable feeling that something was going on in the world, something big, even sinister, and no one would tell me what it was. Sorry, I just gotta pause really quick and make sure my peeps can hear me over here in the speaker. No, said the old man. That's just perfectly normal paranoia. Everyone in the universe has it. Everyone? Said Arthur. Well, if everyone has that, perhaps it means something. Perhaps somewhere outside the universe, we know. Maybe. Who cares? Said Barkfast, before Arthur got too excited. Perhaps I'm old and tired, he continued. But I always think that the chances of finding out what really is going on are so absurdly remote that the only thing to do is to stay hang the sense of it and just keep yourself occupied. Look at me! I designed coastlines, an award for Norway. He rummaged around in a pile of debris and pulled out a large plexiglass block with his name on it and a model of Norway molded into it. Where's the sense in that? He said. None that I've been able to make out. I've been doing fjords all my life. For a fleeting moment, they become fashionable, and I get a major award. He turned it over in his hands with a shrug and tossed it aside carelessly, but not so carelessly that it did land on something soft. On this replacement Earth we're building, they've given me Africa to do, and of course, I'm doing it with all fjords again, because I happen to like them. And, you know, I'm old-fashioned. Old-fashioned enough to think that they give a lovely bouquet, a baroque feel to a continent. And they tell me it's not equatorial enough. Equatorial? He gave a hollow laugh. What does it matter? Science has achieved some wonderful things, of course, but I'd rather be happy than right anyway. And are you? No, that's where it falls. It falls down, of course. Pity, said Arthur with something. It sounded like quite a good lifestyle otherwise. Somewhere on the wall, a small white light flashed. "Come," said Slurdy Breakfast. "You want to meet the mice. Your arrival on the planet has caused considerable excitement. It has already been hailed, so I gather, as the third most improbable event in the history of the universe." "What were we the first two?" "Probably just coincidences," said Slurdy Breakfast carelessly. He opened the door and stood waiting for Arthur to follow. Arthur glanced round himself once more, and then down at himself at his sweaty, disheveled clothes that he had been lying in on the mud during Thursday morning. "I seem to be having tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle," he muttered to himself. "I beg your pardon?" asked the old man mildly. "Oh, nothing," said Arthur. "Only joking." Chapter 21. It is, of course, well known that careless talk costs lives, but the full scale of the problem is not always appreciated. For instance, at the very moment that Arthur said, "I seem to be having tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle," a freak wormhole up in the fabric of the space-time continuum, and carried his words far, far back in time across almost infinite reaches of space, to a distant galaxy where strange warlike beings were poised on the brink of frightful interstellar battle. The two opposing leaders were meeting for the last time. A dreadful silence fell across the conference table as the commander of the Hitchhikers, resplendent in his black jeweled battle torch, gazed levelly at the magnificent leader squatting opposite him in a cloud of green, sweet-smelling steam, and with a million sleek and horribly be-weaponed star cruisers poised to unleash electric death, to sink a word of command, challenged the vile creature to take back what it had said about his mother. Don't talk about his mother, tell you what. The creature stirred in his sickly boiled vapor, and at that very moment the words, "I seem to be having tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle," drifted across the conference and the conference table. Unfortunately, in the Vihirg tongue, this was the most dreadful insult imaginable, and there was nothing for it but the wage terrible war that lasted for centuries. Eventually, of course, after their galaxy had been decimated over a few thousand years, it was realized that the whole thing had been a ghastly mistake, and so the two opposing battle fleets settled their few remaining differences in order to launch a joint attack on our own galaxy, now positively identified as the source of the offending remark. For thousands of years, the mighty ships tore across the empty wastes of space and finally dived screaming onto the first planet they came across, which happened to be Earth. Where, due to a terrible miscalculation of scale, the entire battle fleet was accidentally swallowed by a small dog. Oh my gosh, was a wiener dog? Was a wiener? Those who study the complex interplay of cause and effect in the history of the universe say that this sort of thing is going on all the time. But what are we powerless to prevent it? It's just life, they say. A short air care trip brought Arthur and the old Magrathian to a doorway. They left the car and went through the door into a waiting room full of glass-top tables and plexiglass awards. Almost immediately, a light flashed above the door at the other side of the room, and they entered. "Arthur, you're safe!" a voice cried. "Am I?" said Arthur, rather startled. "Oh, good. Shnikes." The lighting was rather subdued, and it took him a moment or so to see Ford, Trillian, and Zaphod sitting around a large table, beautifully decked out with exotic dishes, strange sweetmeats, and bizarre fruit. They were stuffing their frickin' faces. "What happened to you?" demanded Arthur. "Well," said Zaphod, attacking a bowlful of grilled muscle, "our guests here have been gassing us and zaping our minds and being generally weird, and have now given us a rather nice meal to make up for it." "Sir," he said, quaking out a lump of evil small meat from a bowl. "Have some vegan rhino's cutlet. It's delicious if you happen to like that sort of thing." "Hosts?" said Arthur. "What hosts? I don't see any." The small voice said, "Welcome to lunch, Earth creature." Arthur glanced around and suddenly yelped. "What?" he said. "There are mice on the table!" There was an awkward silence as everyone looked pointedly at Arthur. He was busy staring at two white mice sitting in what looked like whiskey glasses on the table. He heard the silence and glanced around at everyone. "Oh!" he said with sudden realization. "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite prepared for it." "Let me introduce you," said Trillian. "Arthur, this is Benji Mouse." "Hi," said one mice, as they first stroked what must have been a touch sensitive panel on the inside of the whiskey glass-like affair, and it moved forward slightly. "And this is Frankie Mouse." The other mouse said, "Pleased to meet you," and did likewise. Arthur gaped. "But aren't they?" "Yes," said Trillian. "They are the mice that I brought with me from the Earth." She looked him in the eye, and Arthur thought he detected the tiniest, resigned shrug. "Could you pass me the bowl of grated Arcturian-made donkey?" she said. Flirty Bass coughed politely. "Oh, excuse me," he said. "Yes, thank you," Flirty Bass said. Benjamin said sharply, "You may go." "What? Okay, very well," said the old man, slightly taken aback. "I'll just go and get on with some of my chores then." "Oh, well, in fact, that won't be necessary," said Frankie Mouse. "It looks very much as if we won't be needing the new Earth any longer." He swelled his pink little eyes. "Not now that we have found a native of the planet who was there seconds before it was destroyed." "What?" cried Slarty Backfast, aghast. "You can't mean that. I've got 1,000 glaciers posted and ready to roll over Africa. Well, perhaps you can take a quick skiing holiday before you dismantle them," said Frankie acidly. "Skiing holiday?" the old man cried. "Those glaciers are works of art, elegantly sculpted contours, soaring pinnacles of ice, deep majestic ravines. It would be sacrilege to go skiing on high art." "Thank you, Slarty Backfast," said Benji firmly. "What be all?" "Yes, sir," said the old man coldly. "Thank you very much. Well, goodbye, Earthmen," he said to Arthur. "Hope the livestock comes together." With a brief nod of the rest of the company, he turned and walked sadly out of the room. Arthur stared after him, not knowing what to say. "Now," said Benji Mouse, "to business." Fjord and Zaphod clinked their glasses together. "To business," they said. "I beg your pardon," said Benji. Ford looked around. "Sorry, I thought you were proposing a toast," he said. The two mice scuttled impatiently around in their glass transports. Finally, they composed themselves, and Benji moved forward to address Arthur. Now, Earth creature, he said, the situation we have is in full effect, and this is it. We have, as you know, been more or less running your planet for the last 2 million years in order to find this wretched thing called the ultimate question. Why? Said Arthur. No, we already thought of that one, said Frankie, interrupting. It doesn't fit the answer. Why? 42. You see, it doesn't work. No, said Arthur. I mean, why are you being doing it? Oh, I see, said Frankie. Well, naturally. Just habit, I think. To be brutally honest. And this is more or less the point. We're sick to the teeth. The whole thing. And the prospect of doing it all over again. And I count for those that are whining and wine-ridden vogons. Frankly, gives me the screaming heebie-jeebies. You know what I mean. It was just lucky chance that Benji and I finished our particular job. I want to plan early for a quick holiday. And since we kept grading our way back to Magrathia, by the good offices of our friends, Magrathia is a gateway back to our own dimension? Put in Benji. Since when, continued the nearing colleague, we have had an offer of quite enormously fat contract to do the 5Ds. The 5D chat and show back a lecturer and a lecture circuit at our own dimensional neck of woods, and we're very much inclined to take it. I would... Wouldn't you, Ford? Said Zaphod promptly. Oh yes, said Ford. Jump at it, like a shot. What we do got to have product, you see, said Frankie. I mean, ideally, we still need the ultimate question in some form or another. Zaphod leaned forward toward Arthur. You see, he said, they're just sitting there in the studio looking very relaxed and, you know, just mentioning that they happen to know the answer of life, the universe, everything, and then eventually have to admit that in fact it's 42 and shows probably quite short, no follow-up, you see. We have to have something that sounds good, said Benji. Something that sounds good, said Arthur. Sorry, I thought a dog was walking around. Sorry guys, there was a dog walking around. I was like, what the heck are you doing there? Magrathia is a gateway back to our own dimension, said Benji. Since when, continued his marine colleagues, we have had an offer of quite an enormous fat contract to do the 5D chat. Show an extra circuit, back in our own dimensional neck of the woods, and we're very much inclined to take it. I would, wouldn't you, Ford? Said Zaphod promptly. Oh yes, said Ford. Jump at it, like a shot. Arthur glanced at them, wondering what all this was leading up to. But we've got to have some sort of product, you see, said Frankie. I mean, ideally, we still need the ultimate question in some form or another. You see, he said, if they're just sitting there in the studio looking very relaxed and, you know, just mentioning that they happen to know that they have the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and then eventually have to admit that, in fact, it's 42, when it shows that they probably are quite short. No follow-up, you see. We have to have something that sounds good, said Benji. Something that sounds good? The ultimate question that sounds good. For a couple of nights, you know what I'm saying. The eyes bristled. Well, I mean, yes, idealism, yes, the dignity of pure research, yes, the pursuit of truth, and all its forms, but there comes a point, I'm afraid, where you begin to suspect that if there's any real truth, it's that the entire multidimensional infinity of the universe is almost certainly being run by a bunch of freaking maniacs, and if it comes to a choice between spending yet another 10 million years finding that out, and on the other hand, just taking the money and running, 2 for 1, to do the exercise, said Frankie. But, stuttered Arthur helplessly. Hey, will you get this, Earthman? Interrupted Zaphod. You are a last generation product of what the computer's matrix is, right? And you were there right up to the moment for your planet. Got the finger, eh? Right? Said Zaphod. Well, said Arthur doubtfully. He wasn't aware of ever having felt an organic part of anything. He had always seen this as one of his problems. In other words, said Benji, steering his curious little vehicle over which Arthur had been sitting, there's a good chance that the structure of the question is encoded in the structure of your brain. Shop. You want to buy it off you? What do you think? What? What's the question? Said Arthur. Yes, said Ford and Julian. For lots of money, said Zaphod. No, said Frankie. It's the brain we want to buy. What? Well, who would miss it? Inquired Benji. I thought you said you could just read his brain electronically, protested Ford. Yeah, said Frankie. But we've had to get it out first. It's just got to be prepared. Greeted, said Benji. Nice. Thank you, shouted Arthur, tipping up his chair and backing away from the table in horror. It would always be replaced, said Benji, reasonably, if you think it's important. Yes, an electronic brain, said Frankie. A simple thing would suffice. A simple one? Wailed Arthur. No, said Zaphod, with a sudden evil grin. You just have to program it to say, what? And I don't understand, and where's the D? There's no difference. What? Cried Arthur, backing away still farther. See what I mean? Said Zaphod, and howled with pain because of something that Trillian did at that moment. I'd noticed the difference, said Arthur. No, you wouldn't, said Frankie Mouse. You would be programmed not to. Ford made for the door. Sorry, mice. Well, lads, he said. I don't think we've got a deal. I'd rather think that we had to have a deal, said the mice in chorus, all the charm and varnishing from their piping little voices in an instant. With a tiny whining shriek, their 2 glass transports lifted themselves off the table and swung through the air toward Arthur, who stumbled further back and backward into a blind corner, utterly unable to cope or think of anything. Trillian grabbed him desperately by the arm and tried to drag him toward the door, which Ford and Zaphod were struggling to open. But Arthur was dead weight. He seemed to be hypnotized by the airborne rodents swooping towards him. He screamed at him, but he just gaped. Thanks, bud. With one more yank, Ford and Zaphod got the door open. On the other side of it was a small pack of rather ugly men, who they could only assume were the heavy mob of Magrathia. Not only were they ugly themselves, but the medical equipment they carried with them was also far from pretty. They charged. So, Arthur was about to have his head cut open. Trillian was unable to help him, and Ford and Zaphod were about to set and be set upon by several thugs a great deal heavier and more sharply armed than they were. All in all, it was extremely fortunate that, at that moment, every alarm on the planet burst into this ear-splitting din. Chapter 32. Emergency! Emergency! blared the klaxons throughout Margrathia. Hostile ship has landed on planet, armed intruders in Section 8-8. 8A. Defense stations, defense stations. The two mice sniffed irritably round the fragments of their glass transports, where they shattered on the floor. Damnation! muttered Frankie Mouse. And that fuss over 2 pounds of earthy rain? He scuttled around and about, his pink eyes flashing, his fun white coat bristling with static. The only thing that we can do now, said Benji, crouching and stroking his whiskers and thought, is to try and fake a question, invent one that will sound plausible. Difficult, said Frankie, he thought. How about what's yellow and dangerous? Benji considered this for a moment. No good, he said. Yep, does it for the answer. They sank into silence for a few seconds. Right, said Benji. What do you get if you multiply 6 by 7? No, too literal, too factual, said Frankie. It wouldn't sustain the Putin's and the Putter's interest. I think they thought. Then Frankie said, here's a thought. How many roads must a man walk down? Reminds me of that song from, holy shnikes, what's it called? How many roads must a man walk down? So stamp. Then Frankie said, here's a thought. How many roads must a man walk down? Ah, said Benji. Aha! Now that does sound promising. He rolled the phrase around a little. Yes, he said. That's excellent. Sounds very significant without actually trying to do so and tying you down to the meaning of anything at all. We know how many roads must a man walk down. 42? Excellent. Excellent. Then Foxham. Thank you, baby. We are made. Performed a scapering dance in their excitement. Near them on the floor lay several rather ugly men who had been hit about the head with some heavy design awards. This freaking fog bed, quite possibly. It's freaking hot in here. I'm dripping sweat. Freaking harshly. How many roads must a man walk down before one calls him name? At a wild guess, I'd say here, said Daffodil, running off down the right between the computer bank and the wall. As the others started after him, he was brought back by a short, killer-zap energy. This bolt that cracked through the air. Sorry, I'm just freaking dripping sweat. This is crazy. Inches in front of him and fried a small section of adjacent wall. A voice on a bullhorn said, "Okay, bubble rocks, hold it right there. We've got you covered." It's Floyd, and spun around on a couch. You want to try a guess at it, Ford? Okay, this way, said Ford, and the 4 of them ran down a gangway between the 2 computer banks. And at the end of the gangway appeared a heavily armored and spacesuited figure, waving, I would just kill a zap gun. We don't want to shoot you, Beetlebox, shouted the figure. Suits me fine, shouted Zephyr back, and dived down the wide gap between the data process units. The others swerved behind him There are two of them, said Trillian. Recorded! They squeezed themselves down in an angle between a large computer databank and waited. Suddenly the air exploded with energy bolts as both the cops opened fire on them simultaneously. Hey, they're shooting at us, said Arthur, crouching in a tight ball. I thought they said they didn't want to do that. Yeah, well, I thought they said that, agreed Ford. Southwood stuck his head up for a dangerous moment. He said, I thought you said you didn't want to do that. I think you didn't want to shoot us. And then ducked again. They waited. After a moment, a voice replied, It isn't easy being a cop. What did he say? Whispered Ford in astonishment. He said it isn't easy being a cop. Well, surely that's his problem, isn't it? I'd have thought so. Ford shouted out, Hey, listen, I think we've got enough problems of our own, having you shooting at us and such, so if you could avoid laying your problems on us as well, I think we'd all find an easier way to cope. Another pause, then the bullhorn again. Now see here, guy, said the voice. You're not dealing with any dumb, trigger-pumping morons with little headlines, little biggie eyes, and no conversation. We're a couple of intelligent guys, caring guys that you'd probably quite like if you met us socially. Go around gratuitously shouting and shouting to people and then bragging about it afterward in city space ranger bars, but like some cops I could mention, kind of weird. I go around shooting people gratuitously, and then I agonize about it afterward for hours to my girlfriend. And I write novels, chimed in the other cop. No, I haven't had any of them published yet, so I better warn you, I'm in a mean mood. Ford's eyes popped halfway out their sockets. Who are these guys? He said. Dunno, said Zaphon. Oh, shit. I think I preferred it when they were shooting. So, are you going to come quietly? Shouted one of the cops again. Or are you going to let us blast you out? Which would you prefer? Shouted Ford. A millisecond later, the air about them started to fry again, as bolt after bolt of killer zap hurled itself into the computer bank in front of them. The parade continued for several seconds of unbearable intensity. When it stopped, there were a few seconds of near quietness, as the echoes died away. You still there? Called one of the cops. Yeah! They called back. We didn't enjoy doing that at all! Shouted the other cop. We could tell! Shouted Ford. Now listen to this. Beetleborg and you better listen good. Why? Shouted Zaphron. Because, shouted the cop, it's going to be very intelligent and quite interesting and humane. Now, will you all give yourselves up now and let us beat you up a bit? We're not very much, of course, because we are firmly opposed to noodles and violence for war. We broke this entire planet and possibly one or two of others we noticed on our way out. Here we go. That's crazy, cried Trillian. You wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, we would, cried Trillian. You wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, we would, the cop said. Wouldn't we? He asked the other one. Oh, yes, we'd have to, no question, the other one called back. But why? Demanded Trillian. Because there are some things you have to do, even if you are an enlightened and liberal cop who knows all about sensitivity and everything. I just don't believe these guys, muttered Ford, shaking his head. One cop shouted to the other, Shall we shoot them again for a bit? Yeah, why not? They will fight another electric barrage. The heating noise was quite fantastic. Slowly, the computer bank was beginning to disintegrate. The front had almost all melted away, and thick rivulets of molten metal were winding their way back toward where they were squatting. They held further back and waited for the end. Bing, 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 bing. Chapter 33. But the end never came, at least not then. Quite suddenly the barrage stopped, and the sudden silence afterward was punctuated by a couple of strangled gurgles and thuds. The four stared at each other. "What happened?" said Arthur. "They stopped," said Zawa with a shrug. "Why?" "You know, you want to go and ask them?" "No." They waited. Uh-oh. Sorry. That awesome ass grape is trying to call me right now. Anyways, they waited for a few more seconds. "Right," said Ford. "I'm going to have a look." He glanced round at the others. "Is no one going to say, 'No, you can't possibly. Let me go instead'?" They all shook their head. What? "Oh well," he said and stood up. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, after a second or so, nothing continued to happen. Ford peered through the thick smoke that was billowing out of the burned computer. Cautiously, he stepped out into the open. Still nothing happened. 20 yards away, he could dimly see through the smoke and space and the suited figure of one of the cops. He was lying in a crumpled heap on the ground. 20 yards in the other direction lay a second man. No one else was anywhere to be seen. This struck Ford as being extremely odd. Slowly, nervously, he walked toward the first one. The body lay reassuringly still as he approached it, and continued to lie reassuringly still as he reached it and put his foot down on the killer zap gun that still dangled from his limp fingers. He reached down and picked it up, meeting no resistance. The cop was quiet and clearly dead. Quick examination revealed him to be from Regulum. He was a methane-breathing life form dependent on his spacesuit for survival in the thin oxygen atmosphere of Magrathia. The tiny life support system computer on his backpack appeared unexpectedly to have blown up. Ford poked around in it in considerable astonishment. These miniature suits and computers usually have a full backup of the main computer back on the ship, with which they were directly linked through to the sub-ether. Such a system was a failsafe in all circumstances. Other than that, there was a total feedback malfunction, which was unheard of. He hurried over to the other prone figure and discovered that exactly the same impossible thing had happened to him, presumably simultaneously. He called the others over to look. They came, shared his astonishment, but not his curiosity. "Let's get shot of this hole," said Zaphon. "With whatever I'm supposed to be looking at for us here, I don't want it," he said, grabbing the second killer zap gun, blasted a perfectly harmless accounting computer, and rushed out into the corridor, followed by the others. He nearly blasted the hell out of an aircraft that stood waiting for them a few yards away. The aircar was empty, but Arthur recognized it as what belonged to Slurky Badfast. It had a note from him pinned to part of its sparse instrument panel. The note had an arrow drawn on it, pointing at one of the controls. It said, "This is probably the best button to press." instead of going to break, I think I'm just going to finish this. So, Chapter 34. The air car rocketed them at speeds in excess of R-17 through the still tunnels that led out onto the appalling surface of the planet, which was now in the grip of yet another drear morning twilight. Ghastly gray light congealed on the land. R is a velocity measure, defined as a reasonable speed of travel that is consistent with wealth, mental well-being, and not being more than they say 5 minutes late. It is therefore clearly and almost infinitely variable figure according to the circumstances, since the first two factors vary not only with speed taken as an absolute, but also with awareness of the third factor. Unless handled with tranquility, this equation can result in considerable stress, ulcers, and even death. R-17 is not a fixed velocity, but it is clearly far too fast. The air car flung itself through the air at R-17 and above, deposited them next to the heart of gold, which stood starkly on the frozen ground like a bleached bone, and then precipitately hurled itself back to the direction of whence they came, presumably on important business of its own. Shivering, the four of them stood and looked at the ship. Beside it stood another one. It was Mayudron Kappa police craft. A bulbous, shark-like affair, slate green in color and smothered with black stenciled letters of varying degrees of size and unfriendliness. The letters farmed anyone who cared to read them as to where the ship was from, what section of the police it was assigned to, and where the power feeds should be connected. It seemed somehow unnaturally dark and silent, even for a ship whose two-man crew was at that moment lying asphyxiated in a smoke-filled chamber several miles beneath the ground. It is one of those curious things that is impossible to explain or define, but one can sense when a ship is completely dead. Ford can sense it and found it, and it was most mysterious. A ship and two policemen seemed to have gone spontaneously dead. In his experience, the universe simply didn't work like that. The other three could sense it too, but they could sense the bitter cold even more, and hurried back into the heart of gold, suffering from an acute attack of curiosity. Ford strayed and went to examine the Magellan ship. As he walked, he nearly tripped over an inert, still figure lying face down in the cold dust. "Marvin!" he exclaimed. "What are you doing?" "Don't feel you have to take any notice of me, please," came a muffled voice. This poor guy. "But how are you, little man?" said Ford. "Very depressed. What's up?" "I don't know," said Marvin. "I've never been here." "Why?" said Ford, squatting down beside him and shivering. "Why are you lying face down in the dust?" "It's very effective. It's a very effective way of being wretched," said Marvin. "Don't pretend that you want to talk to me. I know you hate me." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do. Everybody does. It's part of the shape of the universe. And you have to talk to somebody, and they begin to hate me. Even robots hate me. If you must ignore me, I expect I should probably go away." He jerked himself up to his feet and stood resolutely facing the opposite direction. "That ship hated me," he said dejectedly, indicating the police craft. "That ship?" said Ford in sudden excitement. "What happened to it? Do you know?" "It hated me because I talked to it." "You talked to it?" exclaimed Ford. What do you mean, like you talk to it? Simple. I got very bored and depressed. So I went and plugged myself into its external computer feed. I talked to the computer at great length and explained my view of the universe to it, said Marvin. And then what happened, said Ford. I committed suicide. Of course, that's not the word, but I have to say that because YouTube will cancel me. But anyways, I committed suicide, said Marvin, and stalked off back to the Heart of Gold. Oh my lord, we're almost done! Chapter 35. That night, as the Heart of Gold was busy putting a few light years between itself and the Horsehead Nebula, Zaphod lounged around the small palm tree on the bridge trying to bring his brain into the shape with massive pan-galactic guarded blasters. Ford and Trillian sat in the corner discussing life and matters arising from it, and Arthur took to his bed and flipped through Ford's copy of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Since he was going to have to live in a place, he reasoned he'd better start finding out something about it. He came across this entry. It said, the history of every major galactic civilization tends to pass through three distinct and recognizable phases. Those of survival, inquiry, and sophistication, otherwise known as the how, why, and where phases. For instance, the first phase is characterized by the question, how can we eat? The second by the question, why do we eat? And the third by the question, where shall we have lunch? He got no further before the ship's intercom buzzed into life. Earthman, you hungry, kid? Said Zaphod's voice. Well, yeah, a little peckish, I suppose, said Arthur. Okay, baby, we're tired, said Zaphod. We'll take in a quick little bite here at the restaurant at the end of the universe. We just finished the book! Holy shnikes! That's exciting. So, we just finished The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm super excited about that. I know the library is like, it's been stalking me and saying, hey, your book is overdue, so I'll take that back and check out the next one. So, let's close out these different things really quick. Let me put this closing song down here. So on this break we have Miss Mia Savage with her band, which she is the band. Antidote for Savages. And she'll be singing Bury Me in Heaven, which is one of my favorites. Now phase, Sing to Your Grave, and the bottom line. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
right now between fear and love. Just a choice right now between fear and love.
Oh. Wow. That's super deep. Tell you what. Anyways, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Weird Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It's freaking hot, sweaty, and humid. It was rain, but, you know, it's a good thing. Yes. Anyways, during this last hour, we are going to watch a video. So, if you're down, let me know. If not, it's all good. Hey, what's up, Jay? Hear me shuffle it around? Okay, so I wasn't muted. Yeah, I was messing with some stuff. You know. But no, I'm grateful that you're here. Oh. For some reason, my camera went unplugged. Is it working? No? Oh, what? Okay, that's weird. Stop cam. Start. I think I got jinxed. What the jinx? Anyways. Okay, so let's do this video. And I'll try to get in here, but I'm gonna be a video file from Weird Paradox Media's video stash. What stash? This stash. Let's go. Holy shit! I think that sounds like Bigfoot. Yep. I think that's Bigfoot. Wow. It's not working. It's so freaking weird. I know, isn't that weird? It was working, now it's not. Appalachians. The Appalachians. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Ruh-roh. I want to make this song again. Let's say so. We'll do that too. Appalachians. Appalachians. Little Krakens. Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. Okay. Isn't that gorgeous? It's gorgeous. You got it! You got it! Holy snakes. That's pretty crazy. The Appalachians. Yep. And then, wow. I said earlier, I told you a story, Jay. But if you want, I'll tell you some more. Hmm, holy shnikes. Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Brown chicken, brown cow. What up, G? Yeah, yeah. Something like a phenomenon. Wow. Wow. See? Friggin' Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs are evil. I don't know. S'mores? I like s'mores. S'mores are good. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And then. What the crack is that? Is that Nessie? Is that something else? Hmm? Oh, ooh la la. Wow. Why is there a heavy breather? Like, that's fucking creepy. Hello? Ah! Oh my gosh. Right? Nessie. It is. It's huge. Really? It doesn't? Chicken brown jam jam. Mm-hmm. Wow. What up, Nessie? What you doing, girl? No, it is. It's fucking Nessie. Nessie. Yeah. Hello? What the fuck are you? Hmm. Oh, no. Right? Do, 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 do. Big. Oh, look at that one. That's so creepy. I don't like that one. That's weird. Serial killer, serial killer, serial killer, me and I. Serial killer, just a serial killer. I never met a girl I didn't like. All right. Yeah. Let's go. Look out. What is that? Hey, what? Let's go back and roll. Freaking seriously? This is what she sees. What? Hello. I'm glad you're still here, Jade. I miss you, better. Isn't that weird? And stare. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Sorry. We're having grilled cheese sandwiches. Nothing for you. One, 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 one. Oh my lord. Do they see it or not? A lot of times they will, and then they just run away. What the crack? See, that seems fake to me. Okay. Yeah, look at him! Dude, seriously. What? Dude. Dude, what? Oh, that's not good. Well, she looked like my sister, so I popped her and then kissed her. Hi, Megan. Yeah, 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 for real. What the fuck is that? 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 What the fuck? What the fuck is that? It's a crazy ass girlfriend. And she looks like my sister, so I popped her. What is that? Away. What is that? 6, 7, 5, 3, 9. Yeah, weird. What the crack is that? Oh no, oh no, oh no. It is, it's Bigfoot. Right there. There's a brother. What a brother son. Ah, well, it's kind of looking at you and checking you out. It's a furry. What? Oh, mother. Indian? Oh, look at that guy. Can you see it? Yeah. It's huge. Huge numbers. Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Lixilodopsis? I don't know. Makes sense. Ding dong ding, ding dong ding, ding dong ding, ding dong. It's finally working! What? You're crazy. You know, don't talk about those girls like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you see it? Yeah. Seriously. Land bear. It's our cousin Bigfoot. Hmm. Could be. Don't mess around with those strawberries. Oh man, those are those like plants things. They're weird. It's a certain entity that has like pants up here, which I've done that before, but it's like walking, has hooves, no face. What the fuck is that? No. Mm-hmm. No, that's people. Name again. Nope, nope, nope. That's a fucking rape, dude. Girl. Uh-huh. Yep. Brown chicken, brown cow. That does stink. I don't think so. No, it's not a cow. Did you hear him? He screamed like, girl scream the manly scream. If I move, it'll see me. Hear the bunny foo-foo walking through the forest. Bunching up the feathers and bopping on the head. Yeah. What is that? So, if you're about to eat a rabbit, would you make that noise? It is. Hi, Morgan. Really? Throw him to the bush. Sacrifice that bitch. Just kidding. Okay. Chile! Mm-hmm. You gotta agree with me. Oh. Rogue. You can hear her voice calling out to the old man. He's like, we need to leave right now. Babe, babe, here. No. You didn't? Yeah, she doesn't hear it, but he does. But she has heard it at home. Yeah. Come on, babe, let's go. What in the bed? What in the bed? I'm telling you, she's her at home, not on the film. Home. Hey, could you imagine? Don't acknowledge or talk to it.
Stories of ghostly voices calling out their names. Has anything like this ever happened to you, and what do you think it could be? Now just imagine the following situation. You're with your friends or family in the middle of the woods in the Appalachian Mountains. It's almost nighttime and all of a sudden you start hearing this alien-like sound that appears to be coming from the sky. You try to find an explanation, but then you remember you're in the middle.
I just have to say, nighty night, love and light to all my peeps out there on We Are Paradise Media's Spreaker. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading the show, and just hanging out with us. Yes, we've had a few technical difficulties. That was hard to say, but hey, hopefully next weekend, everything will be much better. But nighty night, love and light, take care of my yous. Please don't work too hard this week. And I'll see you back here, same time, same craziest place. Brown cow, chicken brown cow, chicken brown cat.